Guys, we're here to talk about your short film, Mayfly. First off, I'll get you to give me a little bit of a synopsis on the short film.
Sure, it's basically sort of a hypothetical medical discovery where doctors have discovered a test where they can tell you the exact date of your death. And our film kind of just follows the first person to have the test done and sort of what his day would be like leading up to getting the results.
Where'd the whole idea come from?
That's a good question. We basically knew we wanted to do a kind of sci-fi premise. Um, we started just throwing things out there and found that a question that everyone asks themselves is like, if you were to find out when you die, would you want to know? And we knew that was a question that everyone asked themselves at some point. We kind of ran with that, and the more we looked into it, the more we realized that it's becoming less and less hypothetical, that scientists are discovering that through genetics, they're slowly starting to determine the date of your death. It's not to the extent that we suggest, where it's, the exact point of your death, but that's kind of the direction we went.
So, in your film, is it taking everything into consideration? If somebody knew the date that they were going to die, they could do absolutely anything before then, and they wouldn't die?
Yeah, basically we said kind of barring any unforeseen accidents like getting hit by a car or something like that. But our premise is sort of that all these diseases that we had previously thought were like viruses and stuff like that are actually within our DNA. And so through this test, you'd be able to tell someone's propensity to get one of these diseases, and then through probabilities, whether or not they would die from it.
Now, you both wrote and directed, right? How does it feel to work with a brother? Is it more difficult? Is it easier?
I'd say it's easier because you pretty much think the exact same, so it's just having two of the same people running around. So, and we're both comfortable enough with each other to say, "Oh no, that's stupid," or "No, it's a good idea." So it works pretty well.
Now, do you feel the same?
Yeah, considering this is the first project we've ever done, so I can't really say what it's like not to work with my brother. But yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, we basically spitball off each other. If he thinks something's dumb, then I totally agree. And if I don't agree with what he's saying, we'll talk about it, we'll hash it over, and then we'll sort of convince each other what the best route to go is. Yeah, we didn't really have any major conflicts. If there were, we'd hash it out and then yeah, push on. It was a good experience.
It's the first project you've ever done, yet you guys just got back from a huge festival with it. How do you even get started to go somewhere that big?
Basically, going into it, one of our goals was we were going to whatever the end result turned out like, we were going to try and get it into the biggest festivals that we possibly could. So we submitted to Cannes and TIFF and all the Sundance and all those big festivals. A lot of people we talk to, we ask if they have submitted to them, why not? And they usually say, oh, we're not good enough to get in there. But we kind of went in with the attitude that we're going to try regardless, and good things came of that.
Clearly. And what was it like being a part of the Cannes Festival?
Oh, it was crazy. It's pretty much all it's chalked up to be, with like the red carpets and the yachts and celebrities and Ferraris and all that. So just being a part of that was a great learning experience. We didn't really go into it hoping to like sell our short film or anything like that. We kind of just wanted to go and absorb what the atmosphere was like, especially since we've never been to a festival before that. So yeah, it was crazy.
This being your first project, is it something you're going to continue to run with? Do you already have other ideas in mind?
We have some concepts we're kind of throwing around, nothing really that we could give you a synopsis on. But yeah, we definitely want to continue. I think our next step would be to write a feature film. We wanted to make the short film just so we had something that we could show people, like a calling card, if you will. And a short film is good, but feature film's kind of where you prove your mettle. So we have this under our belt. We've learned from the experience, and now we're ready to kind of dive into the deep end.
And with a short film, it's only 14 minutes, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I mean, how do you get a point across in just 14 minutes? It's hard enough to do that on a daily basis, getting a point across, but to put it into product to show people.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was another thing that dealing with like life and death and those kinds of big concepts. There's many different ways that we could go about it. Like we could have, we were kind of battling between whether we deal with this on like a global scale and we show, news reports and how it affects the world as, on a worldwide scale, or we could, tell a really personal story and just follow, one guy. And that's kind of where we landed, somewhere in between, where we wanted to, get both of those perspectives, which is why we have, it's kind of half intercut with this personal story following this John on the first man never get this test done, intercut with scientists talking about the concept, the big concepts, and what this says about religion and faith and science as a whole. So condensing that into 14 minutes was difficult. What's important to say, and we ended up cutting, half of what we had written just because that's what you have to do to fit it in there, right? But no, I think we got our point across, and we're pretty happy with the way it turned out.
Especially since being first-time directors, our biggest fear was like, oh, we got to make sure we shoot every angle and we have enough stuff to deal with. So we kind of shot probably like 6 hours worth of stuff. Wow. And so most of it was just completely cut out. So we had a fairly experienced editor that we worked with, Jason Hancock's, and he definitely coached us through it and was like, okay, you got to cut these scenes. Like it may look good and stuff like that, but you really want like a concise, condensed story. Otherwise, people kind of get lost in it.
And where did you get your crew from?
Basically, we knew our camera guy is a friend of ours, and he's pretty experienced. He's worked on a number of films, and he actually works for, wasn't Global, but a news program. So we kind of used him and his contacts to get sort of a crew, and then a lot of it was just based off of, putting it out on websites and Craigslist and stuff like that. And we came in, interviewed some people, make sure we're the right fit. And we basically just went from there.
Posting on Craigslist, did you ever get any weird answers?
Not a lot of weirdos, but it was strange because we were looking for actors. We were like, oh, so where are we going to find all these actors? And we're like, all right, well, let's just post on these casting websites and we'll put it on Craigslist. Kind of thinking we'd get, 5 or 6 people per part or something like that. And over the 2 weeks, I think we got 200 applicants or something like that. So there's definitely no shortage of people sending out their material, which was encouraging. But no, can't say we got any weirdos.
And then did you take each applicant and actually have them audition, or did you narrow it down first?
Well, we kind of went through our book and just took a look because we kind of had a rough idea as to what kind of look we wanted for each person. So I think we narrowed it down to probably 5 to 7 actors per role. And then actually here we just set up a kind of a mini casting audition where we had people kind of go through the lines and film them and stuff like that. And then kind of based on how we gelled with the actor, we made our selections based on that.
And then you guys shot mainly in Surrey, right?
Yeah, we shot in White Rock, up at SFU, at UBC, kind of all around the Lower Mainland. There's a lot of basically new going in where the areas, architecturally, and like White Rock, and it's got the the beautiful beaches, and up at SFU, the architecture is just crazy, and we knew that's where we wanted our institution to be, and it all worked out, and because we travel. He basically travels from White Rock over to SFU. That's kind of his journey. So we go over the Alex Fraser and through the tunnel and stuff like that. It was kind of showcasing the Lower Mainland, which was cool.
Now, you guys, speaking of travel, just got back from Cannes Festival. So what's next for Mayfly? Where can your regular person see it?
Well, unfortunately, right now we've submitted it to a bunch of festivals, so we're kind of just in limbo waiting to hear back. Um, so these festivals are, I think, the fall ones. We'll probably hear back in the next month or two. But unfortunately, most festivals don't let you post it publicly online. They want, they actually ask in the um, submission form, has it been posted, and if it has, it's disqualified. So for the time being, we're kind of just waiting to hear back from festivals, and depending on how that goes, and certainly next year we should be able to post it publicly.
So for you guys, I mean, as much as it's a sit and wait, it's basically for the viewers, you're gonna have to hold off and wait a bit, but it's good for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've been able to show friends and family and stuff like that, and our actors. Yeah, it's just the general public who, when we get interviewed and stuff like that, they kind of want to see it. So we can do sort of private screenings, but yeah, for the time being, we're kind of just sitting and waiting and starting to think about our next projects, and that's basically where we're at now.
That's cool. Yeah. We look forward to it. I honestly can't wait to see it. I was reading up on it, and it sounds like a really cool concept. It definitely triggers your mind and makes you think, what would you do? So I want to know if you guys knew exactly when you were going to pass on. Was there anything that you would change in life? What would you do differently?
I can't really say I would do anything differently because, I mean, getting into the film industry itself is kind of one of those, oh, you only have one life to live, let's get into it sort of thing. I know on the question, it's been funny, just the people that have watched it, it's pretty much been divided 50-50, whether someone would want to know when they die versus kind of just living life as it is. I personally would want to know just because I'm a curious person. But a lot of other people say no, they kind of want to live life as it is, including him, actually. So we have different...
You wouldn't want to know?
No.
Why?
Well, it's kind of the theme of the film is that as soon as you know, there's no going back. Up until this point, you're counting how old you are, how many years you've been alive, and as soon as you find that out, now all of a sudden you're counting down, and it would, I think, just consume you to the point where life would become unenjoyable, and you would be so consumed with that ticking clock that it would be hard to live.
It's funny that having two completely different views on that, you guys still got along to make this short film.
Surprised.
Now, I have one more question that I try to ask each of my guests. You saying that you watched my Rick Campanelli interview, you might know what's coming. I would like you guys to show me your socks, if you're wearing some.
Socks?
What socks are you wearing today?
I'm currently wearing black regular socks.
Is there a reason? We'll get a picture of them.
Okay.
Is there a reason that you chose black?
I would like to be able to say there's some sort of symbolism behind it, but no, I was just wearing boots, so I needed black socks.
Fair enough. How about yourself?
Oh, that's terrible because I'm wearing semi-dress shoes and I got white Adidas ankle socks on.
Good.
Wasn't prepared for that. I should have watched the end of that. Yeah.
Do you actually have polka dots?
I do actually have polka dot socks, yes.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So why white today?
I'm basically homeless right now. I'm living out of my truck because I moved out of my apartment before we went on this trip. So now that I got back, I'm basically living on his couch. So I've got my suitcase in the back of my truck. I opened it up, grabbed a pair of socks. That was the first pair on top.
That works. Starving filmmaker.
That's right.
There you go. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.